Vincenzo's Go Crypto Investing, and this is an emergency alert accumulation update. And bell notification, comment down below, like the channel and share on this July the 21st, 2025. And DGB and AMP, I am highlighting for a massive return. And we're going to first start off with AMP. And remember, this station was built for you, the retail trader, on our way to become asset millionaires via gold and silver bullion and mining stocks, cryptocurrencies, 401k, steady investing, and real estate, along with some cash on the side for emergencies and for what I just did, purchasing new and accumulating existing assets. And look at what we have going on here in DGB. Notice what we've had. We've had multiple hits on this lower support for 3 years. And this could be looked at two ways. One, it never gives you this long at a top or a bottom to accumulate or to sell, right? Or two, we've dug a bottom. We've had two runs, both with upper resistance at point. We got to make this orange. Two upper resistances at that orange 0.02319. Okay, look at all the areas we've had support. And now look at what you've had now after you've had the capitulation with the bear market down 99%. The volume was dead here and we just consolidated sideways and formed a trading range, which is fine. Then look what we had here. We had our first pump, right? And this is the pump that I'm thinking is forming the front side of the handle of the cup. And then you got the rounding bottom that forms the cup. And then you can see the full cup in. And now what do you have here? This is the handle, right, in the macro time frame. And the handle is where you're going to have the breakout, and that's going to be the bullish breakout. And when it breaks out of that, the first major resistance real quick is the neckline, which is the orange resistance up there, and then you break that. But take a look at this as we break this down with the technicals to give you more confidence to add into what you're doing. And this is the super simple and easy things that we do here to understand patterns in the macro time. You can see you got the first rejection, right? Then you had a nice long consolidation, profit taking, and the price consolidating and going down, right? And it came all the way back to where it started. But look what happened after that. You had a beautiful volume that suppressed, then eventually leveled off to its low before the next spike came, right? And that's very bullish. After the pump, you had a down consolidation, even though it gave it all the way back, held the support where it started at. You had the volume suppressed to almost nothing, but still stayed higher than what it was at before. And then as soon as the buyers came back in, just so happened to accumulate with Trump, you had the big pump. You had the big pump in volume, bullish and bullish again, looking exactly like you did there. And now look what it did after that. You had the long down and sideways consolidation with the price. You had the volume come all the way down, level off to its low. And now the volume, look at that, is starting to come back in. And if this weekly candle that just opened up last night ends up higher than the last weekly, which was higher than the previous weekly, now we have a 3-week uptrend in volume. And that could be something that could be like this, starting all over again right there for the next rally. And you notice that, and that's what I think is going on here. And if this does break up, your first initial pump, your first initial move, your first initial upper resistance in the DGB. Oops, we're writing all over our beautiful screen. In the DGB would be after we just delete that, go back into the daily time frame, zoom out into here. You can see where these moving averages are. You got the, get out of there. You got the 200 right here. You got the 50. Come on. You got the 100 uptrending. You got the, get rid of that. You got the 200-day uptrend leveling off. You got the 100-day uptrending. You got the 50-day massively uptrending. And in a few days, it's going to have a bullish cross where it's going to cross the 100-day moving average. And now you're on top of both of those. Now you're looking to hold the 100-day as support like you did. You can see in red, you've currently pumped a little bit. And now on the breakout, what I'm seeing here is if this does break out from the current price, your first initial upper resistance is 123% away, right? Right back at your two areas where you hit twice in 2025. You bookend it, one at the beginning of the year and one at the end of the year. But then I think there's potential for even greater, right? And that's why I did accumulate. If we take a look at this, I think I'm up to, what are we up to now? Get out of there. We are up to 131,675 DGB. These are the first time I have ever bought in DGB, if you can believe that or not. $1,322. I knew the price was going to come down back here, so I didn't get caught up in that hype because it IPO'd so late, or ICO'd so late, and it came out at the top of the bull market. So I knew the down was going to happen. I didn't want to get caught up in trying to trade that. So I waited, and obviously I waited a long time. And you can see after this started the decline in May of 21, there were very little areas to actually swing trade this. Very brief area in July of 2021. Very brief area in March of 2022. Not really any time here. A brief time in December of 2022. A longer swing trade from August of 23 you could have done, and this was your first real chance to make money right there, and then it sold off, and then right there again, and then it sold off. And now I think this is going to be your third time, and I think now after you've went through the market cycle and the capitulation, and you went down 97.31% for greater than 3 years, anybody that bought that up there and got fleeced, they sold a long time ago at a big loss. And that's all washed out now. And I believe now the volume's going to come back in. And I think we're at least coming up to this triple top. But I think there's potential that this even comes all the way up here to this target that we have up there on that cup and handle. And that's an 8x move. And I don't say that very often in a lot of these altcoins. And you know, this is a big statement by me actually buying $1,300 or 120,000 plus DGB for the first time. That's showing I think there's real potential here. Could this always do this and then I get fucked? Excuse my French. Yes, that could absolutely happen because a lot of these coins, it's done that. But look at the mean of the volume in this coin. Look at once you break this area, there's nothing in between here. And then once you break this resistance, there's nothing until you get all the way up into there. So I'm very bullish on this in the short term. I felt like I had to talk about this. You all know I'm very bullish on AMP. I have just over 1 million coins and we are done accumulating it. We've been accumulating the whole way down, and we bought about 3,500 of our 4,400 dollars worth right down in there, right? And we made one bad buy after we made money on it in December. We bought 1,200 back here when we thought it was going to go back up on a consolidation, and it didn't, but we never sold. We were down big off that 1,000. But we just bought $4,000, almost $4,000 more at support a bunch of times. And now I think this is getting primed and ready. And you can see where it's at now if we go into the daily time frame. You can see we're using that step up fashion, and we're just about to break past this 200-day moving average. And as soon as we break past this 200-day moving average, it's going to be like a lid taking off that's under pressure, right? And it's going to explode like your radiator cap or your water heater, your engine coolant, right? If you ever take that cap off and it's hot, it'll blow up in your face. And I think as soon as that breaks this, you're going to see an immediate pop up to this regional swing high. And it's a 32.27% from current price. And then eventually, I think at minimum, you're coming up here. And that's another 142.61 from the current price. And I think we even have an over exuberant potential here in by the end of the year of getting up to the 2.5 cents, which is a 5x return from the current price. Very bullish on AMP. You know, this is the pattern that we've been in. I've been bullish on here for about a year. I have not stopped. You've seen my position, right? You've seen my positions that I got. Here, I'll show it to you again. Where's my AMP? There's my AMP. We're down 10% right now with 1,063 coins, right? 1,063 coins. So I'm very bullish on that. I felt like we had to make sure we actually talked about that today. If we go into the Bitcoin price, you can see the Bitcoin price, we're still in this consolidation, and this is our test case because this track has been running beautiful, and you can see it here. It had about a 14 to 18 day consolidation. We got about 9 days left on this consolidation, and if this does follow through, the next move in the Bitcoin price in this overall rising channel, you can see that we've been in ever since mid to late 2023. You can see where we're at, and if this does break up to the upside and does follow this in blue, your next major upper resistance is the top part of this channel near the $140,000 to $156,000, and that's what we're going to watch out on the top side. The moving averages are still moving up. We'll update these to reflect the new date and time. You can see that, and then you can see the 200-day is just above now that 97,000. Obviously, any kind of consolidation, our support levels are still the same. First is the 50. Second is your uptrending support right along the 100-day moving average, and that's your major support with this rising channel. So right now we're just in the consolidation phase, waiting to see if it's going to actually follow our industry exclusive track that Jabroni Killer members understand and facilitate trading off of. Ethereum is the same thing. We're just about at our $4,000 target. We got a little bit more room to the upside on any kind of consolidation. Obviously, the 3,400 and change is your major support level to stay bullish. And then your 3,000 is your major support level to not get medium-term bearish, right? And then you're in a short-term rising channel, and it looks like you're going to form this rising channel just like the Bitcoin did. And that's where we're sitting at there. If we look into the XLM, is the same thing. You're consolidating. On the next move, if you break the 55 cents, you're going to 80 cents. Contrary to the downside, you can see everything's bullish. You have the short-term moving average on top, the long-term moving average on the bottom, the medium-term moving average in the middle, signifying a bullish trend that has been happening for at least several weeks. And you can see here, if you break that, you're going to 80 cents, right? And the volume is not trending what you would like to see, but that doesn't really mean anything in crypto. On a downside, because if you go into the shorter time frame, like say the 3 hourly, you can see what looks like a shorter time frame double top there. Now maybe a triple top. So we know what happens if you break bullish. If you break bearish, your first major support level is down here. At the 39 cent level, right? What happened to my moving averages? The 50-day got changed red. There we go. There's my moving averages. So the first area would be that 43 cents, obviously. That's your major short-term support. But that doesn't mean you're bearish if you get below it. Your major bullish or bearish support level is that 36 cents or the top part of that support and resistance box. So that means if you break down, this would be as far as you want to come down to for bullishness, right? If you got below that, you'd be short to medium term bearish, right? But as long as you're above this 43 cents, you're going to try to attack to 55 cents and then maybe potentially that 80 cents that's way up there. The same thing with the XRP. We were watching this yesterday. Is this just forming what XLM has, where it's coming up for this, and then we're going to come back down and then trade into the same pattern XLM is in? You see that? How it's already done that? What XRP is doing right now. Let's see if XRP is forming this same thing and not only does that, but actually fulfills it, which would be starting to have a brief sell-off here just below that 76 cents with a regional double top in the hour time frame to consolidate. Let's see if that happens. If it breaks by it and you get above the 376, your all-time high is going to be in jeopardy, and your all-time high on Coinbase is 385. And if you break this 376, you're going to attack that 385. And if you take that 385 out, $4.68 is your next target to the upside, followed by $5.50 after that, coinciding with our $4 to $7 target going into 2026. Through the year, I think we'll be in between the $4 and $7 range for most of the next year. On the downside, anything above this 303 that you flip to major support, that is a bullish consolidation. If it comes all the way to the 303 and really all the way down to the 50-day, because it's right on top of the 257. So as long as you're above the 303, bullish consolidation, and as far down as the 50 in the daily, that is also a bullish consolidation in the XRP price. You can see the volume is much less than it was when you had the Donald Trump rally. You can see the Donald Trump rally in the weekly had 82.96 million, 95 million, 70 million, 42 million, 87 million. This one has had 21 million, 22 million, and 6 million. But that doesn't matter because nobody's selling and the price continues to pump, and we're going to continue to follow it on our accumulation and appreciation. Peace and love. The Rex Eyebrow J.